The contract was almost signed, and then someone started pounding on the gate before dawn. Mirella heard it through the floor of her father's hall, not a knock, a hammer strike. The sound of a fist that did not intend to stop until something opened. She was already awake. She had not slept. She sat at the edge of the bed in the gown her father had chosen for her, and she counted the hours by the candle, and she watched the wax run down the brass holder like something bleeding out slow. 3 more hours. That was what they had told her. 3 more hours, and the rider from Vask would arrive with the seal, and her name would be put beside Hadrian Vask's name on a piece of parchment, and her father would have his alliance, and she would have a husband who had bought her like a horse. The hammering did not stop. She rose. Her hands were steady, which she found interesting, because the rest of her was not. She crossed to the slit window and looked down into the courtyard, and she saw torches moving fast, and she saw her father's steward running across the cobbles in his nightshirt, and she saw, at the gate, a single rider on a black horse, with snow in his hair and his hood pushed back, and the hammering she had heard was the pommel of his sword against the iron. She knew him before she knew his face. She knew him the way a wolf knows north. Roderick of Greythorn, the Alpha King. He had ridden through the night. The horse beneath him was steaming in the cold, head down, lathered. He had ridden, she realized, the way a man rides when he has not stopped, when stopping was not on the table. The distance from Greythorn to her father's keep was 3 days at hard pace. 3 days. She watched him swing down from the saddle. She watched the steward reach him and bow and begin some practiced denial. She knew the precise, quiet weight of a man who had been awake for 3 nights and was not going to be moved. She did not run down the stairs. She walked. She was a woman grown, 23 years of age by the count of pack law, and she had not run from anything in 2 years. She was not going to start tonight. She took the long stone staircase, 1 step at a time. When she reached the door of the great hall, she did not push it open. She stood in the doorway, and she let them see her. Her father, Lord Aldrich of Brynmore, alpha of a small dying pack, a man who had sold his only daughter for grain and soldiers, was standing by the fire pit with his hands clenched at his sides. His beater was behind him, looking sick. The steward was in the corner, pretending to be a piece of furniture. And Roderick was 3 paces inside the door, snow still melting in his hair, his cloak heavy with it, his hands at his sides, his eyes already on her before she had finished crossing the threshold. He had aged. 2 years had aged him. There were lines around his mouth that had not been there. He was thinner. His hands were red from cold. He had ridden through a snowstorm without gloves. He did not greet her. He did not bow. He did not move. He said her name. Mirella. That was all he said. She felt it in her teeth. She felt it in the bones of her wrists. She had not heard her name in his voice in 2 years, and she had forgotten. She had genuinely forgotten what it did to her. Her father stepped between them. "You have no claim here," Aldrich said. His voice cracked at the end. "She was not promised to you. She was not even your acknowledged consort. You let her go. You let her walk out in front of your whole court, and you did not call her back. You forfeited." Roderick did not look at him. "Move," Roderick said. Aldrich did not move. There was a silence in the hall then that Mirella had heard before. It was the silence of a wolf deciding. She crossed the floor. She walked between them. She put herself in front of her father and faced Roderick, and she said, quietly, so that only he could hear, "Don't." His eyes came down to hers. "Don't what?" he said. "Don't kill him." He looked at her for a long moment. Snow was still melting in his hair. A drop of it ran down his temple and into his beard. "I wasn't going to," he said. "I was going to ask him to step aside." "You were going to ask him once?" "Yes." "And then?" He did not answer. She took a breath. She turned, with her back now to Roderick, and she faced her father, and she said in a voice that carried through the whole hall, "I will not marry Hadrian Vask. I will not put my name on his contract. You may disown me, or you may not. I am not going to Vask." Her father stared at her. "You ungrateful little—" "I am leaving," she said. "Tonight, with the king or without him. Decide which one shames you less." Aldrich's hand came up. It did not finish the motion. Roderick moved, not toward her but in front of her, and the movement was small, 3 paces consumed in what felt like a single step, and Aldrich's hand stopped in the air, because Roderick was now standing between them, and Aldrich was not stupid enough to strike a daughter in front of a king who had ridden 3 days to find her. "Lord Aldrich," Roderick said. His voice was quiet. "If your hand touches her, I will end your line tonight. Your beta will inherit. He looks like a reasonable man." Aldrich's hand went down. "You ride out at first light," Roderick said. "All of you. Out of this hall, out of this keep, until I have spoken with her alone. The contract is void. The Vask rider, when he arrives, will be told that Bryn Mawr has been brought under the protection of Greythorn, and that any objection may be addressed to me directly." "You cannot. Out." They went. The beta first, then the steward, then her father. Aldrich stopped at the door. He looked back at her. There was something in his face that was not anger. It was the smaller, uglier thing that came after, when a man realizes he has lost and does not yet know how much. He left. The door closed. It was just the 2 of them then. In the great hall, in the dark, with the fire pit burned down to embers and the candle in her hand guttering low. He stood 3 paces away. He did not close the distance. He had not closed it once since he had come through the gate. "Mirella," he said again. "I heard you," she said. "I had to be sure." "That I was here?" "That you were real." She set the candle down on the long oak table because her hand was beginning to shake, and she did not want him to see it. "You shouldn't have come," she said. "You asked me not to follow you," he said. "You wrote it on the only thing you left behind. You asked me to let you go. So I let you go. You should have come anyway. You should have torn down every gate between us, and instead you sat in your hall and let me run. And I have been alone for 2 years. I am sorry." She stopped. He had not raised his voice. He had not moved closer. He was 3 paces away, with snow in his hair, and his hands at his sides, and his eyes on her. And he had said the words a king is not supposed to say, and he had said them quietly, like a man laying down something heavy he had been carrying a long time. "I am sorry," he said. "I should have come for you. I have been wrong for 2 years. I am here now." She turned away from him. She faced the fire pit. She did not want him to see her face. "You should know," he said behind her, "before you decide anything. I am not the king I was when you left." "What do you mean?" "The pack is dying." She turned. "You let me go, and your pack started dying, and you did not come for me. You did not write. I did not want to make you save us. I did not want you to come back because we were dying. I wanted you to come back because you wanted to. So I sat in my hall, and I let it happen. 43 wolves. I have written 43 letters to 43 families." She could not speak. "Then 4 days ago I heard about Vask," he said, "and I understood I had been a coward for 2 years. So I rode." The fire pit cracked. Somewhere outside his horse let out a long, shuddering breath in the courtyard. "Roderick," she said. "Sit down." "I'm fine." "You are about to fall over. Sit. Down." He sat. He put his elbows on his knees and his head into his hands. And for the first time since she had walked into the hall, she saw him as a man and not a king. Exhausted, half frozen, with a kingdom dying behind him, and a woman he had not been allowed to want sitting 6 feet away. She sat across from him and said, "Tell me everything, from the night I left." He told her. I want to pause here for a moment and ask if this story is reaching you the way I hope it is, if your chest is tight and your breath is shallow and you are leaning toward your screen, that you tap the like button before we go further. It helps the story find the people who need it. Now, back to the hall and the fire pit and the man with his head in his hands. He told her about the first wolf, Edric, who had served his father and had simply not opened his eyes one morning. About the second and the third. About the night he had stood over a 14-year-old pup and understood, for the first time, that his refusal to come for her was killing children. About the night he had ridden to the edge of his territory and stood at the border and not crossed it. About the morning he had heard about Vask. She listened. She did not interrupt. When he was done, she said, "Why didn't you write?" "Pride," he said, "and shame, and the belief which I held for too long that you were better off without me." I was not better off. I know that now. I have been alone for 2 years, Roderick. I have been in my father's house. He has hit me twice. He sold me to Vask for 300 head of cattle and a treaty that would have given Hadrian a foothold on my mother's lands. I would have been at Vask in 2 months. Do you know what Hadrian Vask does to his women? Yes. Then you know what you almost let happen. Yes. Say it. He looked up at her. I almost let him have you, he said. I almost let a man who has buried 3 wives bury you, because I was too proud to write a letter. Mirella, I am... There is no word for what I am. There is no apology that will hold this. There isn't, she said. He nodded. But you came, she said. You came before the contract was signed. You rode 3 days without sleeping. And you walked into my father's hall and you said my name, and nothing else, because you did not trust yourself with anything else. Yes. Stand up, she said. He stood. Look at me. He looked at her. I am going back with you, she said. I am going back to Greythorn. I am going to break the bond rot if it can be broken. I am going to be your Luna if your pack will have me. I am going to walk into your hall and stand beside your throne and remind every wolf there that I am the one who left, and I am the one who came back, and they will treat me with respect, or they will answer to me. Yes. And you are going to spend the rest of your life knowing that I came back not because you came for me, but because I chose to. The fact that you came was necessary. It was not sufficient. I understand. Good. She took a step back. She did not let him close the distance. We ride at first light, she said. I want to see your horse. I want to know if he can carry you another mile. He can't. Then we will find one that can. Sit down. I'm going to bring you something to eat. Mirella, sit down. He sat. She left the hall. She woke the cook. She came back herself with warm bread, cold meat and broth. He ate. She watched him eat. He had not eaten in 3 days, and he ate the way a man eats when he does not know if he will be allowed to stop, quickly, without tasting, with the bread held in both hands. When he was done, he did not thank her. He looked at her, and his eyes were wet, and he said nothing, and she understood that this was the thank you. They rode at first light. The journey back to Greythorn took 4 days. They did not speak much on the road. There was nothing left to be said that had not been said in the hall. The moon was on his face, and the lines around his mouth were deeper than they had been in the hall. Ask me what I did. For 2 years. He had been quiet. Then, what did you do, Mirella? For 2 years. I worked in my father's kitchens for 6 months because he would not give me a room of my own. I taught myself the old script, the one the healers use. I helped a woman in the village deliver a child who was breech, and I helped bury her 3 weeks later when the milk fever took her. I watched my father drink. I waited for a letter from you that did not come. The 3rd winter I almost left. I had a horse picked, food packed. I did not ride. I do not know why. I think I was waiting for the thing that happened 4 nights ago, when you came through my father's gate. He had not spoken. The build of a man who had been heavy in his youth and had hardened into something thicker, the beard already greying, though he was barely 40. His 5 riders fanned out behind him and pulled up 10 paces from where Roderick's horse stood across the road. "Greythorn," Hadrian said. He did not dismount. "You are on the high road outside your territory, with 1 rider and no banner. The lady behind you is the contracted bride of the Vask pack. I am here to collect her." "There is no contract," Roderick said. "There is a contract. It bears the seal of Lord Aldrich of Bryn Mawr. It was witnessed by his beater. It is on its way to the regional council, which will recognize it within the week." "It will not." "It will, Greythorn. You can ride into Greythorn tonight and explain to your dying pack that you started a war over a woman who was already promised. Or you can step aside, and the council will rule what the council rules, and you will not have buried any more wolves over a contract that was made before you came to your senses." Mirella urged her horse forward. Roderick's hand came back to stop her. She moved past it. "Lord Vask," she said. "My lady. I was never your bride. I was an item on a bill of sale signed by my father, who did not have the right to sell me. There is no contract. There is a piece of paper that you will burn when you get home, because the alternative is riding to war against a pack you cannot beat over a woman who would put a knife in you on your wedding night." Hadrian Vask looked at her for a long moment. "You are bolder than I was told. I was told the same about you. I was misinformed." His face did something. She could not tell if it was anger or the beginning of the calculation that men like him did when a fight became more expensive than they had budgeted for. He looked at Roderick. He looked at the cliffs. He looked at the 5 riders behind him who were not as ready as they should have been. "I haven't slept in 7 days. You would have fought 6 men. I would have killed 6 men. There is a difference. I would not have let him touch you. I rode 3 days for that. I would have ridden 3 more. There was no version of this road where he left with you." She reached across the gap between their horses. She put her hand on his forearm. He went still. "I know," she said. "Stop trying to bleed for me. You proved it at the gate. You proved it in the hall. You have been proving it for 4 days." He nodded. They rode on, and the cliffs fell away, and the forest closed around them, and by nightfall they were inside the Greythorn border. They reached Greythorn on the 4th day. The pack was waiting at the gate. Word had outrun them. When they came up the long road to the fortress, every wolf who could still walk was lining the road. The old ones leaned on the young, the pups were carried. The gammers and beaters had formed an honor line. They were silent. She had thought it would be hostile. There was none of that. There was only silence and a kind of grief she had not been prepared for, and as she rode past them, one by one, the wolves bowed their heads. They knew. Every one of them knew what had been killing them, and every one of them knew that the woman riding in beside their king was the only thing that could stop it. She dismounted in the courtyard. She walked past Roderick, past his beater, past the steward who had come out with the keys. She walked into the great hall of Greythorn, the one she had walked out of 2 years ago, and she stopped in front of the throne, and she turned, and she faced the pack as they came in behind her. "I am Mirella of Bryn Mawr," she said. "Some of you remember me. Some of you do not. 2 years ago I left this hall because I believed I was killing your king by being beside him. I was wrong. He has been dying without me. You have been dying without me. I am here now. I am not leaving again. If any of you object, Speak now." No one spoke. The Beta, a tall man named Soren, who she remembered as a boy, knelt. The Gammas knelt behind him. Then the warriors. Then the rest of the pack. Then, last, Roderick, who walked from the doorway to the throne and stopped in front of her and went down on one knee and lifted her hand to his forehead. "My Luna," he said. "My king," she said. The bond rot did not break that day. It did not break for another 7, and when it broke, it did not go quietly. It fought. Small things first. Moss between the stones, then the white flowers that grew at the edge of the forest. Then, in the 3rd month, the wild roses that had not bloomed in Greythorn since Roderick's grandmother had been Luna. Mirella walked through it in the late afternoon. Her hand was on her stomach, which was not yet showing, but which the healer had confirmed 2 weeks ago. Roderick was at the far end of the garden, sitting on the stone bench her grandmother by bond had once sat on, reading a letter. He looked up when she came near. He held the letter out to her without speaking. It was from her father. It was a long letter. It was, in its way, the letter she had been waiting for her whole life. The apology, the grovelling, the request for permission to visit his grandchild when the child was born. She read it twice. She folded it. She handed it back. "What do you want to do?" Roderick asked. "Nothing," she said. "Not yet. Maybe in a year, maybe in 2. We will see if he means it." He nodded. She sat down next to him on the bench. She took his hand. She did not let go. Somewhere in the courtyard, a wolf howled, long and slow and full, the howl of a healthy pack at the end of a good day. Another joined it, then another. Then the whole pack, all of them, the wolves who were still alive and the pups who had been born since the rot broke, every voice rising into the evening. Roderick closed his eyes. "Mirella," he said. "I know," she said. I want to thank you for staying with this story all the way to the end. If it moved you, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Where are you listening from tonight? And which moment landed hardest? Tell me. And if you have not already, tap subscribe so the next story finds you when it is ready. Sleep well. The fire is warm here, and there is room beside it for you.